Hey, this is Lisa, Paper Grace Designs for Faber-Castell Design Memory Craft. I have another project for you today. This is a mixed media piece that I created for you. I'm starting off with a piece of MDF, which is medium density fiberboard. It's cut down. I had it cut down at, I think it was Home Depot. It's a 1/4 inch thick and it's 8 by 12. I'm using gesso to prime it. Gesso is just a primer. And you want to use that on, because like on canvas, which is already primed for you, you want to prime it so that you don't have anything like paint seeping through or anything like that. So I did prime it first, and then I dried it just with a heat tool. And then I also applied some black acrylic paint. You don't have to do this. I did it because I'm applying paper on top of it. And in case there was any pieces of the paper that didn't quite match up right, I wanted to make sure there was something that wouldn't quite show through white. I wanted there to be black. So that's what I did there. Next up, I'm using my gel medium. Gel medium is something that I just love. So when you're using paper, you want to make sure you apply the gel medium underneath and on top of. So I've got the paper that I ripped up in nice little pieces, or big pieces in this case. So I've got the gel medium underneath the pieces, and again the gel medium on top of the pieces of paper. And you just want to apply a nice even coat and apply the pieces of paper however you like. I just was trying to pay attention to how the patterns were so that they didn't, I didn't have the chevron pieces going exactly the same way, just, more visually interesting. And just made sure that there was a nice even coat of the gel medium. And I did that for all of the pieces that I tore up to apply on that piece of MDF. And since some of the pieces of paper were kind of scraggly from tearing them up, you'll see there's some overhang on those pieces. Once it was all nice and dry, I did heat it with the heat tool. I just cut it off with a pair of scissors. It wasn't anything fancy. I just cut it off. So just a nice even coat of gel medium once the whole thing was done, and that was that. So next up, I'm going to be using my Stampers Big Brush pens. And what I do here, because the gel medium is perfect for this, Stampers Big Brush pens are India ink, but when you're using it with the gel medium, it does give you a little bit of time to play with them. So you can lay it down over those pieces of paper to create a little bit of dimension, and they just rub it in with your finger. But once it's dry, it is dry because they are India ink. So you can see what I'm doing here. I'm just going over the edges of those pieces of paper, and it does create quite a nice bit of contrast. I just used a bit of baby wipe over that so that some of the edges which were a little harsh, I just used the baby wipe to kind of soften those edges up a little bit. Next up, I'm using the chalkboard paint, which is one of the new Textural Accents. And cleaning up my mess a little bit here. And this is one of the new things that we just released at CHA, and I'm going to be using that with a ID Swap stencil. Now this is going to show you that I made a nice mistake here. I used it a little bit too thick, but I didn't want to cut it out of the video. I wanted to show you that when you apply it a little bit thick, this is what can happen. So just to show you that we do make mistakes, and this is what can happen if you use it a little thick. So I used the stipple brush and I put it over the stencil, and I did use it a little thickly, so when I pulled at the stencil, ta-da, big blobs of chalkboard paint. But again, because you're using the gel medium, it wipes off just beautifully. So once I clean that all up, I put the stencil back down, and I used a lighter layer of the chalkboard paint with the stipple brush, and I just lightly pounced it over the stencil. So when I lifted it up, you can see the hearts beautifully. And they're nice little chalkboard hearts that when I lift up the stencil, they just are really, really nice. So it's quite a nice addition to the Textural Accents line. There you go. Really cute. Now we've got the Whip Spackle, which is another addition. We have 3 new additions. That was the chalkboard paint, the Whip Spackle, and the glass bead glitter gel. So here I'm using the Whip Spackle, which is kind of like a modeling paste but lighter and fluffier. keep thinking it looks kind of like that marshmallow fluff. So I used the whip spackle, and then I'm going to add a little bit of the glass bead glitter gel. What I did though is I took a little chunk off of one of the guava gelatos, and I mixed that up to give it a nice pink color, and then I added a little bit of the glass bead glitter gel to give it a little bit of shimmer. In the I didn't quite get all of the gelato smashed up, so there's little pink specks that are a little bit darker. If you want a smoother consistency, by all means smash it to smithereens and get it real nice and smooth. I didn't really care. I liked having the speckled look. It's fine by me. I'm not that retentive, but you know, it's entirely up to you. I used the hexagon stencil and applied it onto my piece, and there you go. You can see that it's nice and speckly and shiny and sparkly from the glass bead glitter gel. It's really quite pretty. And I like the way that it feels. It's kind of got a really nice texture to it. It's a little softer than modeling paste, I think, and it's really pretty with the glass bead glitter gel in there. And you can go really heavy-handed with that glass bead glitter gel as well, so it's really sparkly, or you can go lighter too. And then I'm just using some Prima flowers, and I'm going to be coloring those, just using some gelatos here. I've got the guava again, I've got Earl Grey and Silver Ice for a little bit of metallic, and I'm just rubbing them onto my craft sheet. You can use them directly onto the flower, which I also do. I spritz it with a little bit of water just to get a lighter color, put the flower directly into that, and then of course I did use them directly on the flower too once I realized that it was a little bit too light for me. I did that for both the larger flower and the smaller flower just to try to get them nice and colored. So I crumpled it up into my hand also to get it a little bit more distressed. Then for my main focal piece, I had a piece of Craftaboard from Ellen Hudson. I painted it with the chalkboard paint, and then I cut it with a large fishtail banner from My Favorite Things. Cut that down, and then I used a quote from Silhouette, and I kind of copied that, and I just wrote on that, it says, "Do small things with great love." It's a Mother Teresa quote. And like I said, I copied it because I don't have good handwriting. And then I used the pastel pencils, the Pitt pastel pencils, to write on the piece of chalkboard paper now, basically. And it's nice thick because it is the Craftaboard. I popped it up with dimensional foam, those big rolls, which you can see in the background. Excuse me. And that's what's going to be my focal piece. I also die cut some hearts. They're the rustic hearts dies, also from My Favorite Things. And here, this heart right here is a piece of Webster's pages. There was 2 of them in the pack. I didn't quite like the color, so I just covered it with gesso, so it was a little bit lighter. And all those things I just covered with, again, a gel medium so that they're adhered nicely onto my piece. And the larger heart I'm just coloring so that matches more onto my mixed media piece. Everything, like I said, gets gel media mounted onto my piece there. That's how it all gets adhered and protected. So using the gelato there gives it a little bit more color, so it matches everything, all the colors that I'm using. Then I'm just going out, outlining it with the Stampers Big Brush Pen, using some rub-ons to give things a little bit more interest. These are from Christy Tomlinson, and they're pretty fun. They've got a little bit of a doily accent. Since I put those rustic heart dies on a doily, I thought it'd be fun to add some small doily rub-ons onto the sides and some smaller ones into some of the emptier spaces on the piece, just for some visual interest. Rub-ons are a lot of fun when they're coming back in style. I think they're kind of neat. Really easy to use. Anybody can use a rub-on. Nothing to learn. Just really pretty too. I like those. And I also added some washi tape on there too. I think one is by Kamoy and the other one is Glitz Design. Again, anything like that you always want to cover with the gel medium too. Then I added my baker's twine to make the banner look like it's hanging, which I thought was kind of cute. And I also glued down my flowers. So attached the string to the baker's twine to the back. And I think I'm just outlining one of those little hearts a little bit better. So I think I also, yeah, colored in a little wood chip flower with the chalkboard paint. And those are really easy to do, super cute. Put a rhinestone in it. I think I added some enamel dots from My Mind's Eye. Since the paper's My Mind's Eye, they all match really, really well. And the piece is pretty much done. I think it turned out really nice, and I hope that you liked it. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye.